This week on Maker Update, punch-activated flamethrowers, interactive laser curtains, Massimo takes back Arduino, some time with a deluxe center punch, 3-color OLED screens, MagPi 60, and the GEMMA M0. It's Wednesday, August 2nd, I'm Donald Bell, and welcome to another Maker Update. It's a really big show this week with a lot of cool projects and some big news, so I'm going to dispense with the opening ramble and cut right into it, starting with the project of the week. Alan Pan, the maker behind the electromagnetic Thor's hammer that went viral a few years back, has a new project that turns your fists into flamethrowers. The system is a sort of self-contained gauntlet that combines an Arduino Pro Mini, an accelerometer breakout board from Adafruit, a butane fuel chamber made from standard pipe fittings, a voltage control valve, and an electric arc lighter. The whole thing is connected to a LiPo battery and mounted onto a light plank of wood, which might not be ideal for a fire project, but probably provides a good degree of insulation from the heat. The coolest thing about this, aside from the fact that you're shooting fire out of your arms, obviously, is that the code for the accelerometer is tailored specifically to respond to punches. If it doesn't get that high velocity, followed by a sudden stop, it doesn't trigger the effect. So the way it works is, the Arduino is on constantly looking for a punch-like acceleration curve from the Adafruit accelerometer. Once it sees it, the butane valve and the arc lighter are momentarily triggered by the Arduino, and after ignition the code goes back to looking for punch movement. Now it should go without saying that this is not a project for children or beginners, and even for experienced builders, make sure to have a fire extinguisher nearby and a first aid kit. Also, Alan admits that this design could really benefit from a simple on-off switch built into the battery wiring. It would really be good for convenience and for safety. With all that said, this is one of the coolest, most dangerous projects I've seen since the Flamethrower Skateboard by Mycosaurus in episode 34. It also reminds me a little of the muscle-controlled Wolverine Claws project from MyoWare. I'll drop links to all these projects in the show notes. Another great project that just dropped this week is this interactive laser sheet generator by John Bumstead. John also created the musical Geodesic Dome featured in episode 18, which shares some of the DNA with this laser project. There are two main features here. One is a set of red lasers that spin around so fast you perceive them as sheets. Because the lasers are mounted on servos to angle them in or out, the shape can be controlled or set to automatically drift around. Just that alone is awesome, and there's a whole chunk here on how to incorporate slip rings into projects so that stationary elements can connect to spinning elements without creating a tangle of cables. John used the slip ring to connect the spinning servos and lasers to a stationary Arduino Mega. Now the other part of this project is a ring of ultrasonic sensors around the lasers that translate nearby movement into musical MIDI notes that you can connect to a keyboard. Altogether, it's essentially an advanced take on the laser harp. The part that really sticks with me though is the slip ring. I kinda knew these things existed but never really understood how they worked until now. I'm excited to use them in a project. It's time for some news. On Friday of last week, Arduino announced that the company was under new ownership and that CEO Federico Musto would be departing. Arduino founder Massimo Banzi has been named CTO, and a man named Fabio Violante will serve as the new CEO. The announcement comes after a year of drama surrounding Federico Musto's suspiciously unverifiable degrees from MIT and NYU, and the unfulfilled promise of an Arduino Foundation to look after the Arduino IDE software. I think it's a good move. It's going to help Arduino to save face after this whole Musto fiasco. And while it's great to see Massimo sort of back in charge, I do think it's important to remember that Arduino was sort of dropping the ball even before Musto came along. In my opinion, there's still a lot of work to be done if Arduino wants to stay relevant. This week, for my Cool Tools video review, I'm going to show you guys this fancy automatic center hole punch. It is a great option for starting drill holes in metal or wood. And if you pick one up using the Amazon link in the video description here, it helps to support my videos and the Cool Tools blog. Here's your typical brass handle center punch that you can pick up for around $5. You push it into the material you want to drill, and it makes a little divot for your drill to start in so it doesn't wander around. The trouble with these is that they get dull quick, and even out of the box, they don't leave much of a mark. I've also found that the round design just loves to roll off of your workbench. It got me wondering what a nice center punch would be like, so I did a little research and found this $30 option from Rennsteig. This is an all German-made tool. It has this nice ergonomic handle that allows you to push down directly from the top. It also doesn't roll all over the place, which I like. The replaceable striking pin here is made from a hardened tool steel with a Rockwell hardness rating of 58. The punch itself has a striking force of 60 to 130 newtons. You can adjust the force by twisting the handle. What this means practically is bigger, deeper marks in your material and hopefully a substantially longer lasting pin, though you can order replacement pins for around $10 online. Here's the mark from a new $5 punch on the left and the mark from the Rennsteig on the right. To me, it's a noticeable difference. Is that difference worth an extra $25 to you? That really depends on how much you use it or how much these generic punches bother you. Personally, I find it really satisfying to use this one, and I'm glad I spent the extra money for it. If you're interested in picking one up too, using the Amazon link in the description helps me out and the Cool Tools blog. And remember, you can find thousands of reader-recommended tools like this at cool-tools.org. I have a bunch of tips to share with you this week. The first is to let you know that MagPi Issue 60 is out this week. It's a free digital download. The issue is all about troubleshooting Pi problems. It's a really solid guide on all the things that can go wrong, everything from having a weak power supply to software conflicts. Gareth Branwin's Tips of the Week column on Make has a great nod to the unsung virtues of having safety pins handy in your workshop. They're great for unclogging glue bottles and scraping out bits of gunk, plus they have the built-in protection for the pokey end. Through the Adafruit blog, I learned about a new Introduction to Soldering guide from Pimeroni. It's extensive with lots of photos and videos and tips for fixing things when they go wrong. It has a light sense of humor that I really appreciate. While I was on the site, I noticed that Pimeroni is stocking a new 3-color e-ink display that fits right onto a Pi Zero. It's called the Inky pHAT, and it's around $30. I love unique displays, and I really want to check this one out. It includes a Python library and a few example projects like a clock and a weather display. Finally, this past week, Adafruit unveiled a new version of their tiny GEMMA project board. It's called the GEMMA M0. It's $10. It can run Arduino code, and like the Feather M0 and Metro M0 and the Circuit Playground Express, it can also run Python. It has 256K of flash, 48 megahertz processor, native USB support, on-off switch, JST battery connector, and a true analog output that can be used to play audio clips stored on the board. This, to me, is what Arduino should be doing. It's an extremely approachable board, it costs less than a pizza, it's plug and play, and it acknowledges that, especially with the success of Raspberry Pi, kids today are learning Python, not Arduino. Maker fairs! We've got 3 this weekend, including Chicago Southside, Dayton, Ohio, and Tokyo, which I'm sure is mind-blowing. If you can make it to one of those, send me some photos and let me know how it went. I'm Donald at MakerProjectLab.com. All right, and that's it for this week's show. Be sure to subscribe if you're not subscribed already, and you can leave me a comment or leave me a thumbs up. I'd really appreciate that. And if you're interested in that center hole punch, you can pick one up using the link down here, and that helps to support my show. All right? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week.